Oh hello, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm extremely excited today to talk about a remake of that game. Say hello to Metal Gear Solid 3D. Okay, hold your boos.
Show of hands, who knew this existed? Keep them raised. For years, whenever there was a big gaming event coming up, there would be rumors about a remake of Snake Eater, be it E3, Summer Games Fest, a State of Play. People would swear that this was happening, and every time we were reminded, Konami doesn't make video games anymore. But then the damnedest thing happened. They actually started making games, and good ones at that. In 2023, it was revealed that they really were making a remake of Snake Eater. Oh my god! Finally, I no longer have to be that guy at parties.
Goodbye, technically a remake of Snake Eater. I don't need you anymore. Actually, that was expensive. I should go get that.
Before there was Delta, there was Metal Gear Solid 3D, a full-blown remake of the game for 3DS that's trying its best, damn it. I actually played the demo for this quite a bit as a kid. I wouldn't go on to buy Snake Eater until I found out it was available for the PS3 along with the first two, and on there I would play it quite a bit, but I never really beat it until much later, and I loved it. Here's 3 copies of the game to prove it, and if you think that's bad, then don't ask how many times I've bought MGS1. I had only beaten it a couple of times, but I played the hell out of it when the Master Collection came out. Put your pitchforks down. I played it most because I'd lay in bed and play it on my Switch. Now bring out the pitchforks. I know the Master Collection has its problems, especially on Switch, but I don't really care. Its worst offense to me is just being a bit underwhelming, still having the HD Collection logo in the loading, and missing out on the re-release content yet again. I just want to skateboard as Snake and get those fucking monkeys in HD. How many random notes do I have to send? But I think it has its pros, especially for Snake Eater. For one, different buttons do different things in this game. Look, I know the pressure-sensitive controls have their fans, to which I say it's still important to social distance. I can understand liking them, but be real. How many people even knew these buttons were analog? For a game without an in-game tutorial teaching CQC, something very dependent on pressure-sensitive commands, you'll constantly do things you didn't mean to do. And I know that there are action guides, but who wants to read all of this before even pressing new game? This version just splits the actions across multiple buttons the better way, as it's the way the series would go regardless because it's future-proof. Gimmicks come and go, but by God, the circle button is eternal. Now Metal Gear is no stranger to handhelds, even going all the way back to the Game Boy Color. These games, they're fine. I've also heard that there are Vita ports of 2 and 3 that aren't great, so with that knowledge we might as well remake 3 completely on the 3DS. There is actually a decent jump in quality for the models. Sure, it's on a 240p screen and can look rougher when blown up on a monitor and weirdly miscolored, but it looks pretty good and the 3D effect is certainly there. Presentation wise, this is the same game, same story, same cutscenes, same testicle grab, but there is something that sets this game apart from the original. It does something that they never even considered when making the original game. It controls like shit. Look, I think the easy modes in these games kinda suck all the fun out of it because it's just too easy, but for your first playthrough of this version, I highly recommend easy mode just so you can get a good handle on the controls. By default, you use the face buttons to move the camera, which does not allow for small adjustments in aiming. But this game was advertised along with the extra control pad attachment for camera control, but I don't have one. All I have is a new 3DS XL with its stupid C nub. This nub is good for 2 things, aiming left and right and being bad at everything else. I don't find either of these control schemes to be all that comfortable. Each one comes with compromises that just keep them from feeling as good as the original, which is insane because none of this should be necessary. Why do I have to always have camera control and be able to move while aiming in first person? You can't do that in the original. Hell, the original release of this game had fixed cameras, so why does the version that can only be played with less buttons try to do more? They could have kept the original control scheme and fixed cameras, but instead it controls like Metal Gear Solid 4, but stretched as thin as possible across a control layout that can't fit everything these games have to offer. And some parts of Snake Eater just felt better than MGS4, like the knife. For how much you use it when crawling around, I just want to stab a snake. Now you have to stop and press the aim button and then you can stab. And rolling is also mapped to the attack button and not the crouch button, so it's hard to do the right kind of CQC. The slam I could never get right, I either roll or chokehold them. Not a big deal when on easy, but still the problem is it's hard to do what I want because so much is put on one button. It makes the safest strategy just shooting everyone from a distance, which is a fine way to play the game, but it ignores so many mechanics that make MGS3 my favorite in the series. Not that it couldn't work, but instead of trying to build upon the original Snake Eater, they should have tried to keep things as they were to make sure the core experience wasn't compromised like it was. It's not impossible to get used to. Like I said, I'm on easy mode, so it's fairly easy to just shoot every guard and move on. You even get to move while crouched, which is a nice addition. It doesn't really feel like it works in the way I'd want. Honestly, it feels like they can still hear my footsteps, but I guess it's nice to have. But other than that, this is Snake Eater. Everything is pretty much here. I almost feel like I wasted my time playing as much of it as I did, because you get the gist after a couple hours. It's Snake Eater with 3D, worse aiming, and a couple extra goodies like camos you can make out of pictures. But I don't have any pictures on my 3DS aside from Tomodachi Life screenshots, most of which were accidents, but it gave me this camo that gave me 100% camo index, made out of me Snake's stretched out face. It's certainly neat that the things like these little frog guys were moved and replaced with Yoshis, and that they even have the Snake vs. Monkey rewards apparently, but the rest of the changes are really nothing to write home about. Menuing being on the touchscreen does nothing for me because you still have to completely pause. Some cutscenes and dialogue are different. You have Peace Walker markers to indicate when a shot lands, but that's all just something you'd put in like a side-by-side comparison, not a meaningful change that makes a difference. You basically need to read the wiki or watch a YouTube video to know what's actually different. What's more interesting is what stayed the same, like the stun grenade glitch still works on the Fear even if it looks way worse. However, you can't use stun grenades to silence your footsteps like you could in the original, so I guess I do really wonder what they changed from the original code to get to this version.
Now that I've played it longer than a few minutes, I actually don't think I'd consider it a remake. Not even a remaster, it's just different. But not different enough to make it very interesting. The most interesting thing about this game is the fact that it exists. They released Snake Eater and only Snake Eater on the 3DS. That's fascinating, but that's ultimately where the intrigue ends. If you've played the original, then there's genuinely nothing here for you. Maybe if you only had a 3DS at the time and this was your first exposure to the game as a kid, it would mean something to you. Or maybe back then the portability really was worth all the compromise. But if you want a portable version of the game that runs at a worse frame rate, this thing has 2 analog sticks. This game is a neat fun fact to know about, but with Delta replacing it as a real Snake Eater remake, we're not losing a whole lot. This game is a version of Snake Eater and nothing more. Now you can start booing.